So I haven't done a video of my 2017 Honda Fit for a while, so I figure now's a good time. I've owned this now for just over 8 years and I've recently just turned 60,000 miles on it. Now, interestingly, the last ownership update I did on this was at 50,000 miles, and that was just about 4 years ago. So in the first 4 years of ownership, I did 50,000 miles, and in the next 4 years, I did 10,000 miles. So I figured I'd just do a little walk around of the outside and the inside, show you guys how this car's been holding up. Well, overall, as you can see, the Honda Fit's still looking great. I just washed it for the first time in probably a year. And yeah, in the past 4 years or so, I'm really only washing this once or twice a year. But as we look more closely, I'll point out a few imperfections to pay attention to if you want to keep your Honda Fit looking like new. So let's look up front at the rock chips, and overall it is looking really nice. On the hood there's just a few marks, like here. But I think very good for 60,000 miles. And on the front bumper down lower, definitely some minor, I think these are some chips on this flat surface, very minor. Right there tends to get chipped, and further down, definitely some marks in the plastic here. I've never had any PPF on this car or anything like that. In terms of any body damage, the most significant blemish is down here. Unfortunately, not that visible, but I did kind of drive it off the road into a little ditch area and scraped there. Fortunately, the bumper's still pretty solid, but the fit is really low, so definitely have to be careful there. The fit has a huge windshield, so I feel like it must be very prone to rock chips on the windshield. Now, fortunately, and maybe just by luck, I have this one tiny mark right there, but that's it. Mark there. If that hit the glass, I bet that would have been a chip. Now, the other thing to know is in the first 2 years of ownership, I really babied this car. It was the first new car I bought. I did ceramic coat it shortly after I bought it. And, I washed the interior and exterior regularly, and also parked it in my garage, like full time almost. But since then my life's changed. And after 2019, this has mostly been parked outside. And after 2021, working from home the past 4 to 5 years, it's kind of just been baking under the sun. So a little bit of wear shows, and I'll point out kind of where the sun damage has started. So it's hard to tell, but this big plastic panel here on the front is definitely starting to fade. It's a lighter gray versus the darker gray or black when it was new. It's kind of harder to see in the garage here, but in the daylight you can kind of tell. And I do feel like that makes it look kind of bad, kind of worn out. I have applied 3R3 aerospace repellent kind of on the exterior plastics and stuff. Occasionally, probably like once a year. So I don't know how much that has helped, but I definitely try to apply something more often. And if you can, park this thing not under the direct sun. Otherwise, this spot in particular fading, I think is inevitable. You can also see some of the fade on these windshield wipers. I think that's kind of expected. I might try to respray those. Now the other thing, take a look at the headlights. So with these plastic headlights, a lot of times by 8 years, these things are all faded and damaged. So, our Honda Odyssey 2014 is like all faded, and my 96 Honda Civic, when I got it in 2006, it was just already all faded. But if we look at this after 8 years and, baked in the sun most of the time, still looks good. And I have not had to refinish this or apply any polish or anything. So that's really nice. And I think like once your headlights get faded, it really makes the car, look a lot more worn out and old. So definitely happy about that. There is one spot though, this top spot, I think that's most exposed to the sun. So here you can tell it is significantly faded. on both sides here too. But down here, still looks good, and the front all still looks good. Now looking up close at the paint, you can see it is still, I'd say, overall in great condition. Now if I can get the right angle, there's definitely some swirls and minor scuffs and stuff. You can probably see some here a little bit at this angle. But overall, I'm pretty happy about that. And I'm not looking to do a paint correction yet. Maybe at the 10-year mark, I'll splurge on that. But I think at about 4 years, I did do a really light paint correction myself. Since then, nothing. I did get the windows tinted. I think like 20% in the back and 35% in the front. And I'm pretty happy that I haven't got any big dings in this car. Unlike my wife's car, I think mainly she doesn't drive this, which I think is good. So I usually park carefully. And her CX-5 overall looks good from far away. But if you get up close, probably like a dozen dings on that car, on her 2019 already. The only ding I have, there's a very minor one. I think you can kind of see it there. So the Fit's a small car, so park it in the middle of the spot and try to avoid parking next to big trucks and SUVs, and hopefully it won't get all dinged up. A few scuffs and scratches here. Don't really know when these happened, probably in the past few years, but probably pretty minor, and I could probably get those out with a paint correction. But overall, definitely no paint peeling or anything with the Aegean blue. So I would say overall, a good color. I usually notice these still in good condition. It is the white that will likely peel a lot on these. And I think maybe black and some other colors too. Now my wheels are overall still looking good. I do like the look of these factory wheels, but I do have a little minor self-inflicted damage. Pretty sure my wife did that one. I don't know how. That was a long time ago. And I did curb this spot. This is the only one that I curbed. Very minor. But in terms of wear though, on all 4 wheels, by the center caps, starting to oxidize. And I think over time, this is just going to get worse and worse. I'm not sure if there's anything you can do to prevent this. If you have any tips, let me know in the comments. But I noticed this on a lot of Honda wheels, just the way they finished it. There's some like protective coating, and then under the coating, the aluminum just starts to oxidize. My Pilot had it really bad. It was just like all oxidized up. It started coming up. This painted black part, I do think it chips easily. So like right there, when you're taking off the lug nuts, I don't think I did that. I think probably it was during the inspection they took off the wheel. But yeah, here you can see the wheel overall looks great. No curbing or anything, but there the oxidation is starting. So let's go take a look inside soon, but I keep thinking of more things. So here it does scratch pretty easily, so I'm pretty sure my wife, did this with her nails, and I'm complaining about her a lot, but I do love her, just in case you're watching this video. And otherwise, looking at the rubber, definitely seen a lot of cars by 8 years, this is all dried and cracked out, and I do apply that 303 protectant on this, but this is staying good here, pretty good. Now the one place that's definitely wearing out is here. You can see it a little dried and cracked. So I'm pretty sure this, is going to start to look really bad within the next few years. Not sure if there's anything I can do better with that. Finally getting inside, I do have the leather, the EXL. I definitely like the look of the leather seats and the feel, but the leather's still overall looking great. Here's the area that wears the most in the Fit and most cars, and overall still looks good. Driver's side a little bit more wear, but I'd say still overall good after 8 years. Now let's look in the back seat and see how much the kids have torn things up. Unfortunately, not that much. Now, I don't typically use the Fit for hauling the kids around. Usually we use the CX-5 or now the Odyssey for that. But we do have some scuffs here from the kids getting in and out, so that's a bit inevitable. Now the other thing, I have had car seats in here for a good amount on both sides, but no indentations in the leather or anything like that. So that's definitely good. But like I said, I have car seats in here sometimes, but not just sitting in there all the time. If that was the case, maybe there would be some damage to the seats. Now, the one thing in the interior I would say in the fit not so good is the carpet. So the carpet, I do think looks fine when it's new, but it's this very low pile, felty stuff. And here you can see in the high traffic areas, when it wears out, it starts to look bare and starts to kind of get linty, kind of like a cheap sweater or something. You can see it here in the trunk, like basically, you vacuum it and the material kind of just comes up over time. It's also very hard to get the dust and stuff out. So you can see here, that's how it starts to look. All right, finally, let's get under the hood and under the car and see if this Honda Fit's turned into a rust bucket or not. But first, if you made it this far in the video, you probably care about keeping your Honda Fit in good shape, so you may be interested in a repair manual from eManual Online. So here's a preview of the manual for the third generation 2015 to 2020 Honda Fit. It really does cover everything in over 9,000 pages, from the torque specs for every bolt to simple things like changing your transmission fluid, to diagnosing any and everything that might be wrong with your transmission, to replacing your whole transmission. So if you're interested, link to buy in the description below, as well as a coupon code to get 20% off. All right, so let's look under the hood. And I definitely like to see, in older cars, not a bunch of rusty parts or bolts or dried out rubber. And in the Honda Fit overall looks pretty good. So I like things like, these clamps, not rusty and feel like good quality. Definitely seen cheaper ones in other cars. And a lot of these parts, they do still look new. These clamps, starting to rust a little bit. And this intake hose sticks out, you can see it's discolored. So, it'd be nice if that was higher quality, like these still look all good. And up here, this padding is not all dry and rotted yet, but you can see starting to a little bit. So I bet within a few years, this will be all dried. And, when this is a 15-year-old car, we just need to take that off. All right, so moment of truth. So is my Honda Fit going to be all rusted out in 5 years? Well, if we look under the front, well, we just see plastic, so we can't tell here yet. The plastic is loose, that's kind of expected. So this whole thing has to come off for oil changes. And the clips break very easily. I'm pretty sure the few times I brought it in to someone else to change it, they broke mine. At the bottom of the doors, no issues yet. I do try to clean here, in my yearly wash. And here under the car, well, let me know what you guys think. I think not that bad, surface rust here a few places, but like this still all clean, and here the chassis all clean, still no surface rust on the exhaust. We do have some surface rust already, and this bracket. And further here in the back looks not too bad, muffler, not that much rust, suspension, and the back looks all clean. Here still all clean. Little spot surface rust there on the tow hook. So yeah, overall still love my Honda Fit and keeping it in great shape after 8 years. It's definitely fun to drive compared to my minivan. If there's anything specific, you want to see me make a video on, definitely let me know in the comments. But yeah, I don't drive this that much. I have the van and my wife's CX-5. So I didn't have the intent of doing this, but if you're interested in buying this, make me an offer. And maybe I'd think about selling it, for the right price. But that's definitely not my plan. I didn't have that idea making this video, just thought about that. Anyway, hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next one.